her first, her only adult home, purchased 35 years ago on a junior lecturer's salary, without any help from her mother, who was not offering anyway. She wanted to drift away gently, like a ship on the tide. But this driver, with the forgettable name, moved out sharply in front of an approaching car, accelerated at an alarming speed, and they were gone before she had time to take a breath. "Sorry," he said, sounding more delighted than apologetic. "Can't let these Audis get too up themselves." The full beam stretches out ahead into the gathering darkness, highlighting the smooth curve of the concrete wall on the central reservation. Bare branch saplings watch them pass, broody sentinels arranged in precise ranks, prepared for the approaching invasion of snow. A few flakes are starting to drift down. "Miss March," he says, "it's not supposed to snow." They're sitting side by side. She was uncomfortable with the self-importance of sitting alone in the back, and she can see his profile, just visible in the light from the dashboard. A fine, sculptured head, dusted with very short curls, smooth skin, a short nose, and a chunky, amiable mouth, ready to smile at any time. He has a pleasing sense of authority. The word hot unexpectedly pops into her head. Where did that come from? It's the kind of thing her students would have said, no longer her students. Retirement changes everything. But however many alternatives she sifts through, hot remains exactly the right word. It concerns her that Theodore Shepherd, whose own lack of physical presence is conspicuous, might turn out to be one of those people who likes to be surrounded by attractive employees. There are no photos of him online. She's researched him thoroughly, wanting to be sure he actually exists. And on the one occasion when she expected to meet him in person, he failed to make an appearance. Does he have a phobia of mirrors and cameras? Is he unbearably ugly, happier gazing at his carefully selected staff than his own image? But he's willing to take on Ellen. The appearance of employees can't be his only motivating force. She remembers the driver's name. Will, that's it, of course. Her first encounter with the name Will was about 30 years ago. The boy, who was 18 on paper but didn't look a day over 14, came into her office for an interview, grinned, and tried to arrange his awkward limbs as neatly as possible on the upright chair without knocking anything over. She liked him immediately. She's always had a soft spot for unconfident men and boys. "William Blackmore?" she asked, checking her list. "I prefer to be called Will," he said. She immediately changed her mind. What was wrong with Bill? It had served vast numbers of Williams quite happily for centuries. Later, long after he'd gone and she'd decided he did have something about him after all, it occurred to her that Bill was, in fact, less logical than Will. She looked up diminutives in a reference book. This was before the age of Google, and discovered that the name Bill came from an early Irish pronunciation. Curious that Will has only relatively recently risen to the surface and taken over. -2, says Will the driver unexpectedly, as if they've just been discussing the temperature. "And falling." "Well, it's nice and warm in here," she says. "Climate control," he says. "Technology at its finest." "If you say so, although it's probably not the most significant invention of the last few years." "Good point," he grins. "But who's complaining?" They lapse into silence. Ellen leans back and closes her eyes. "So," says Will about half an hour later, "what's the plan?" Ellen stares at him perplexed. Is he expecting to stop somewhere for a picnic? "What do you mean?" "This castle I'm taking you to. What's it for, exactly?" Ah, he's being polite, making conversation. "It's going to be a museum," she says. "Hey! Like the British Museum. I love that place." His language is imprecise.